brothers and a bro fist to you all, for Friday has landed. Friday afternoon is here. It is getting chilled, it is getting relaxed as the weekend is about ready to land all over your face and make it absolutely wonderful. And I am so glad to be here with you guys to celebrate Drama Time once more. And for our new viewers, of course, around the world, across the internet, across that wonderful superhighway of information, anonymity does allow people to be absolute bastards sometimes, doesn't it? Yes, it does. We've all encountered those crazy free company and guild leaders across our MMOs. Giga F? F? What's the F? Oh, it's fixed. Are we good? Are we rescued? Are we saved? FF? Looks good to me. No F? Are you trolling me? All good my end? Okay. Alright, we're fine. We're all good. Excellent. We've all encountered those crazy individuals all over the world who take their anonymity and take their power that we thrust upon them in these video games and take it to unusual extremes where they get a little wacky and they get a little crazy. But that's okay. But before we get into that, I should tell you that I am going to Mexico next week. I'm having my first little vacation in 3 years since COVID. I know many are waiting for theirs as well, but I'm taking mine next week. I'm taking my family to Mexico. So there'll be no Drama Time next week, but I am back the week after. I'm only there for a few days. It's fine. It's going to be fine. So there'll be no drama next week, but everything will be good. Mexico is where I'm visiting, but also we received a gift. You might remember an absolute bastard who wrote us some tales to Drama Time, who abused his privileges of reporting his cousin for looking at ERP and things like that, and we weren't friendly to him. So he has taken his crafting skills, and crafted us this. The gavel. The mighty gavel. Now, this thing is... I'm worried about putting it on my desk. It's so heavy. It's a genuine sledgehammer. It is a real sledgehammer that has been hand-etched and engraved with the PG logo. As you can see there. That is all properly etched in. And crafted metal with that, along with this. It is an absolute beast of a thing. And, yeah. The Fs are not from us, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not from us. Nope, no, yeah, not you. I think you guys might have a Twitch issue. Yeah, it's not from us. I can see it's not our side. Piggle will take care of the hammer. Piggle will take care of the hammer. I assume it's your whichever Twitch side you're on. I don't know. It's not us. I can see here. We're fine. We're totally fine. Did we lose a continent? Maybe. It does happen. It does happen from time to time with this wonderful website that we do play on. But it is good. It has been good for about 9 hours. We've been live all day. But that's fine. So, with that gift bestowed upon us, ladies and gentlemen, let's have some fun stories, shall we? Some fun stories. I'm wary of where this goes. I Must Be Colorblind is the name of this one. I must be colorblind. I'm not sure what that could refer to. Maybe they can't see orange on the floor if it's an FF's tale. We are indeed still accepting WoW stories, by the way. So make sure you get them in on our website, whether it be whatever it is. Loudbeard Guy the Third. Loudbeard. All right, Loudbeard Guy the Third is going to be this. Dobby Sock. I'm going to go with Dobby. Raw Fish Scale. Oh, these are wonderful names. These are all genius names. Raw Fish Scale. Moondog. You could sign up to the website when you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. We do appreciate it. But you could sign up with, like, Greg. You know? Boomkin Burger. An old school hero. And Stazer. You could, you know, you could be Greg. You could be Ken. Larry. Just saying. You know, you could. You could. You could be any of those. You could be. You could be any of them. Greg is fighting with Hilda. Yeah, he's busy. He could be Keith. You could be any of those things. That would be fine with me too. We need 2 guild names. So live audience. We need 2 guild names. I believe this is a World of Warcraft story. So we need 2 guild names to go along with this. There's no description as to whether they're edgy or anything like that. They could be good. The Bosnians. Oh, yes. The Bosnians. That will do. The Bosnians. As I've completed FF's Bosnia today. Well, did as much as I could. The Blade Inspectors. The Unsubbed. The Dodgers. Let's give it up for our Dodgers. Let's go for our Dodgers. For our YouTube listeners, we had a surge of around, in total, 12,000 subs to Twitch, which has honestly made my life so incredibly easy with the office move and all that stuff. Yet there are still members of my regular day-to-day audience who managed to not get a gifted sub throughout that surge, which is utterly incredible. Utterly incredible. The amount of evasion those guys are packing is unbelievable. Is unbelievable. Let's go. Hello, Mike, Bex, and everyone on the team. I've been watching Drama Time for as long as I've been playing the game. From all the way back in Warlords of Draenor, fresh in high school. Jesus, that's an awkward couple of years, isn't it? Fucker. Bummer, you were born into the world of Apex's crystals. Son of a bitch. To now, onto my 3rd year of university. I've sent a couple of stories here and there. None of them got picked, to my knowledge. That's not my fault, blame Bex. But that was probably because they lacked the certain pizzazz. This story is actually a continuation of my last story, which I had written the very day after a major drama event unfolded in my guild. The major drama event would be the first red flag in a series of many that I just couldn't see. That's why you're colorblind. You can't recognize the red flags. All right, live audience, get the counter going. And unfortunately, this tale now has that much needed pizzazz. I believe I made a plea to your jury that day, but that isn't needed anymore. I now know, with the power of hindsight, every single person in this story is guilty as fuck, except for one. Okay. All right. Let me dust it off. I'm ready. I am ready. Judge Preach is in the house. The beginning of this story starts in the Shadowlands pre-patch. I had been part of the same ahead-of-the-curve guild since the Tomb of Sargeras, all the way through to Ny'alotha. The only time I had stepped into Mythic raiding was during the battle for Dazar Alor, getting 4 out of 10 Mythic. Where's that up to? Remind me. That's the shit boy, the monkey boy. Who came after monkey boy? Is it Opulence? Opulence. They killed Opulence. Okay, you killed Opulence. Why did you stop there? There's like 2 free bosses after Opulence. Yeah, they killed Opulence. That's fine. Yeah, they had the 2 monks. Then you had Opulence. Yeah, you did all right. I really, really enjoyed the feeling of progressing on a very hard boss. And the increased responsibility each player had in a mythic setting. I loved it. If I improved, it had a tangible effect on the whole team. In Shadowlands, I decided to find a proper, true mythic guild. To go further than I could ever hope to do in my ahead-of-the-curve guild. I did what I had done to get my first guild and punched my way above my weight limit. I applied to a lot of cutting-edge guilds on the server, and to my surprise, one of them replied. Oh. Okay. Go, Bex. Last minute change. Okay. Bex has sent me an updated document. Suspicious, but we'll see. We'll see. Suspicious. I feel like I might be getting trolled, but okay. We'll let it slide. Yeah. That's a red flag. I'm noticing a red flag straight away. The guild master was a really friendly guy. And for the first time in World of Warcraft, I found a guild that actually had people that were my age. Every other guild I had been a part of, the average age was probably around 50 years old. Brackets, no offense. Hey, if they're doing like 4 out of 10 Mythic and a 50-year-old's guild, that's alright, man. That's pretty good, actually. I think that's pretty decent. Some weird conversations going on, no doubt. So I was pretty stoked to finally be some people that I could relate to outside of raiding. The only person who didn't talk was a warrior named Loudbeard. He never said a word. But I tell you all now, the DPS meter spoke for him. Loudbeard was a fucking pumper. The first time we raided together was Nyalotha during the pre-patch. Me on my Frost Mage and the rest of them figuring out what they wanted to play in some shiny new expansion. I told them I could kill myself during Moat's intermission. They told me I should do it. So of course I went Glacial Spike and shattered it into the boss, instantly wiping myself out. Is there anybody here who actually slowed DPS on Mort? I mean, that's a healer job, right? You know what I used to love on Mort? If you don't know, Mort like reflects damage back at you. Our raid leader, Alex, God bless him. God bless his soul. God bless him, would say, right guys, this boss is super easy. There's no need to pump damage. And then immediately, you would throw down every single fucking cooldown you had. Because they came back up at that time. Like, that's not our fault. That's just the boss design. That's just the boss design. You've just... if you gotta do it, you gotta do it. That's the boss's fault. That's not my fault. I definitely killed myself there. Laughs were had. It was a really good time. Until Shadar. Loudbeard's insane DPS couldn't carry us for the whole raid. But I had expected us to carry us past the 4th boss. Most of the guild hadn't come. But quite a few people were on their mains, yet we couldn't kill a patchwork fight. I didn't think much of it, but it would unfortunately be a warning of what was to come for this guild. Nathria would be not much better for them. Dungeons, when the expansion came out, were fine, but the raid, another story. Huntsman Altamore Normal was unbeatable the first night. And the next night we came back with 10 fewer people, after learning the damage was scaling weird. Even then it was a hard boss. And I was confused, because my previous guild that I had left easily killed it. And progressed past us to Hungering Destroyer and Zymox. I feared deeply that I had made a huge mistake jumping to what should have been a much better guild. But I was prideful. I was too prideful to cut my losses and go back to my lesser progress guild. Let's go forward a month. We had cleared normal mode, thankfully. But one of our main tanks who only showed up for one heroic night transferred to the Horde. And all of the replacements... Oh, you're an Alliance Raider? That explains it. Okay, now it all makes sense. There it is. You're an Alliance Raider. Mm. And all of the replacements saw the writing on the wall. Which I hadn't. And left pretty shortly after I joined. I think we had 5 or 6 different tanks in a single month. I did the unthinkable and I went and pugged Heroic Denathrius. Because I really wanted ahead of the curve this tier and kind of had a hunch that my guild couldn't do it. On the very next reset, when we finally killed the Stone Legion generals, they did a couple of pulls on Denathrius. I was trying to help because I had already done it. They couldn't get past phase 1. My new cutting-edge mythic guild died. The guild master essentially said that this group of people probably couldn't kill Denathrius. So the best thing for us all is to go our separate ways. Literally almost before he finished completing the sentence, he was already transferred to another realm. He had gone Horde. Guys, we probably can't kill this while clicking the PayPal link. I don't think it's going to work out. We should probably all go our separate ways. This is when I learned that their cutting-edge roster was different now by 18 people. And all of them had splintered off to do their own things. For our dedicated FF players, there's only 20 people in a mythic raid, and 18 of them are no longer there. I did come to meet one of these people because he recognized I kind of got screwed along with Loudbeard, and decided to refer us to a gentleman named Dobby Sock, the central force of our story. Dobby Sock was a raid leader of a guild on another, very small server. Dobby Sock trusted our now former guildmaster a lot, so I was invited to come to their heroic run that night, and it was great. Coming from wiping on heroic Huntsman to killing heroic Denathrius in a single shot, it came back to me. It brought back my love for the game. I was no longer hating Nathri. I was hungry for it. I wanted this. I transferred the very next night so I could join them for a mythic raid. And Loudbeard joined the night before. Immediately, pleasantries were had, and of course, someone said, "Whale come." I knew I was home. And this was an officer who said, "Whale come." Raw Fish Scale. Now, Raw Fish Scale was interesting. But what was even more interesting was the dynamic of the guild as a whole. The guild master, Moondog, was a girl. I wasn't particularly taken aback by this fact, because quite a few guild members either looked up to her as a motherly figure or as an object of desire. She's either my mum or fuckable. Pick one. Oh, gamers. Never change. Never change. She's either a mother or she's fuckable. Just pick one, man. I'll just pick one. It was so cliche. They were like moths to a flame, gamers to a girl. It was a weird vibe. But from what I gathered in call with the officer clique, the raid team wasn't really tied to her outside of sharing a guild. They were there to raid, and so was I. And the casuals who did see her as an object of desire, this was their saying. Well, these casuals, they stocked a mean guild bank. Raw Fish Scale was particularly interested in this guild, though, because he was kept close to Moondog like her pet. Oh, where is this going? Always gaming with her no matter what content it was. Another part I'd like to throw out there was he was an open brony. Nice. Nice. Let people... That seems to have died a death now, doesn't it? Is that still a thing? 7 red flags. Mina's keeping a proper count. That seems to have died a death now, the whole brony thing, right? Is it still around? I don't know, man. It was a big thing. I remember like 2 years ago it was like a big thing, but it seems to have died a death now. Let people live their lives, sure. Notably, he refused to recall people say the phrase everyone. He would use the phrase every pony unironically in guild chat. And yes, Mike, it left a sour taste in my mouth, so I feel I have to bring it up. Ooh. It doesn't even flow. It's just bad. Like, disregarding the cringe thing, it doesn't even flow as a phrase. It's just shit. It's just really bad. A side note. Another notable person I met here is Boomkin Burger. He was a really cool guy. And it feels bad to bring him up right now in a story following a brony, but I feel the need to because of what happens later. Sorry, Boomkin Burger. You're being dragged in whether you like it or not. Boomkin Burger is one of the kindest guys I've ever met. He was very, very good at the game. If I'm being honest, I'm pretty sure he found me annoying, but he wasn't rude or anything like that. And that's something I really respect because I know I'd be rude to me if I was behaving like me. Me, the officers, and Boomkin Burger all kind of played League together sometimes. I was pretty bad, and so I just kind of watch while shooting the shit because on these nights during the pandemic, I didn't have much to do anyway. Boomkin Burger had a main sort of group of friends that he hung out with in the guild. Just 3 of them, but they basically did all their own stuff, their own dungeons, etc. They were completely unrelated from the 2 main groups I'm about to explain to you. Raid night was that night, though. And I was so excited. I came in with Loudbeard and we got down Shriekwing and Huntsman, both of us learning the fights very quickly. We then got to the boss we were progressing on, the Hungering Destroyer. We had been brought in to replace a couple of people who had left for different guilds. After seeing the strange dynamic, I couldn't really blame them. Bronies and all that. It's fine. Regardless, I was here to do progression, and that guild dynamic did not have an effect here. Although, actually, it turned out it did. Oh no. This is the central conflict of my previous drama. But it's no longer the most notable thing about this guild. I'll be brief. Basically, Raw Fish Scale and Moondog were both in the raid team, and so was one other person who was in their little clique. This was because Moondog was the guild master, so she made Dobby Sock let her be the guild tank. And that meant that if she was playing, Raw Fish Scale also needed to be in the raid. She was not good. She was really not good. And despite Raw Fish Scale's great healing, he was very inflexible because of the guild master who thought she knew better than the raid leader despite a cursory glance at fight guides saying she was wrong. It was strange. Why was this raid team in this guild if it meant that sometimes they would have to dilute the talent pool and bench people if the guild master decided to come? Sure, the guild bank was nice. But if we can't get past a relatively easy boss because the guild master insists on playing tank really badly, then what are we doing here? I was told it was separate. On the second night, we did kill the boss, but the officers didn't seem happy. They worried what was going to happen on the next boss. I stuck around in the call and brought up my concerns to the officers, and they agreed. Apparently, they had come to the same conclusion at the start of Shadowlands a month ago. They had been a cutting-edge guild the previous tier, I found out. But they had lost some players because Shadowlands wasn't very fun. And without those players who had hard carried Moondog, notably our old main tank apparently doing all of the important stuff, and the new tank being less good, to put it nicely, none of them were satisfied with our progress. I also learned that Moondog was the most geared person on the team because she was constantly being carried through keys. Yet she wasn't very good. Despite her amazing gear, she didn't do anything in our raids. During our conversation about these concerns, Dobby Socks suddenly joined the call. Guys, we are leaving to the server where I've just had a chat. He had apparently just talked to Moondog for an hour, and she was rude. She wasn't happy. And Dobby Sock decided it was time to go. Apparently they already had 12 of the 20 members of the team on board, minus the 3 people in Moondog's little clique, and the 3 in Boomkin Burger's clique being a maybe. The final 2 were Loudbeard and I. Despite just joining, we were on board with this. In a shocking turn of events, though, the entire raid team leaving started drama in general chat. The inactives and socials in the guild were pinged for a poll made by Moondog asking if they wanted to transfer servers. At first, the poll was 18-2. We had more people from the raid team on our side than we thought. But after she brought in the casuals, the followers, the poll swung rapidly in the other direction. What does it matter if the casuals don't want to come? I don't get it. What does it matter? Why does their opinion count? Genuinely, I'm talking from a raid team perspective. If the raid team wants to leave, what the fuck does it matter if the rest of the guild doesn't want to go? Right? It's not I'm not saying who cares what the casuals want. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it doesn't affect them, so why would they involve them in any way, shape, or form? Dobby Sock blatantly... Oh, Dobby Sock said in guild chat, it doesn't fucking matter what the outcome of the poll is. The raid team is leaving. Okay, fair enough. It was resolved straight away. Good. I was confused as to whether this was going to be like, well, we can't leave without the casuals, right, that don't take part in the raiding. You can imagine the resounding response from the socials of the guild. You elitist pricks. Elitists. Stealing Moondog's guild right out from under her. How dirty and backstabbing and betrayers we were. The officers told me that one of the people who was most critical of Dobby Sock was someone who hadn't played WoW in literal fucking years and was never active in the Discord, but was still sending him private messages about the betrayal. At the same time this was happening, I wrote a ticket to Blizzard asking to be transferred back. The only reason I know I was in this guild less than a week was because I contacted Blizz to transfer me and was only able to for free because I had been on my new server for less than 7 days. The various small events that happened there could be a story on its own. I felt like I was there for a year. Just 7 days. Loudbeard, unfortunately, was transferred a day before me, so he had to pay cash money again to come back to our first server. But I was one of the first people in the brand new guild, the Bosnians. We discovered after the transfer it was actually 18 of the core 20, as Boomkin Burger's team joined us as well. And so did one of Moondog's inner circle. Dobby's Sock had already been recruiting for our brand new guild on this server before it even existed. We had almost 6 trials lined up, including a tank for the next raid night. One of them being Stazer, who would later become a good friend of mine. It was cool being in the call the very night of the founding of the new guild. I started hanging out with the guys more. I became friends with them. And as a new guild, we progressed a lot more quickly than we had thought possible in our old guild. Hungry Destroyer fell far quicker despite teaching multiple trials what to do. And then we worked on as a Kale Fass, which I'll get back to in a couple of paragraphs. A favoured pastime of Boonkin Burger, the officers and I, who had formed a little officer clique of our own, was to look at the progress which the guild we had left was making. I have to admit to you, Mike, I fucking love drama. And I did not like Moondog or Roche Fishscale. We took great pride in seeing their 3 out of 10 mythic be reduced very quickly to a 9 out of 10 heroic, using a ragtag team of Moondog's miscellaneous admirers who didn't raid, but would for her. That's not nice. You don't need to bully. I don't take pride in it now. But one night, I noticed a new mage in their roster. You're not going to whisper. I took interest because I've only ever played a mage in World of Warcraft, so I thought I'd take a little closer look. To my surprise, he was a mythic raider who had seemingly come back from a Ny'alotha break this far into the Shadowlands and joined their guild after server transferring. I immediately worried that maybe he'd been tricked. Maybe they had told him they were a mythic guild. And I couldn't let that be. So, I did the honourable thing. I made myself an alt and decided to write him an in-game mail, warning him, doing the good thing. Now, I know what I did was toxic, but I had been duped now by 2 cutting-edge guilds, so I had to look out for my fellow mage. I felt I had to. But son of a bitch, this is how we discovered a snitch. Oh my god. It somehow got back to Dobby's Sock that I'd done this. Moondog was annoyed that I, specifically me, had wrote an in-game mail to one of her members poaching and trying to sabotage her guild even after we'd left. She knew immediately it was me. But she shouldn't have. The character was new. It could easily have been anyone in our guild that she knew before the mutiny. During the argument, Moondog let it slip that one guy who had joined us from her little circle that came with us was pretending to be with us and was acting as a spy. Why? Why are you doing this? Why are you wasting your money transferring characters across servers to spy? Why? Why? What do you think she's going to give you? At best, you're getting a hee-hee. That's all you're going to get. Really. But Mike, it was like a mafia movie. Okay, we're ready. We're ready. He would be forgiven because he did something for us. We found the snitch. But he's still family, right? So he had to do something for us for his extra betrayal. He told us something groundbreaking in his defense. Moondog recorded the conversation she had with Dobby's Sock that night we finally transferred. And Dobby's Sock needed it. He wanted to show it to us as if it was movie night. A couple of days later, our snitch came back with the prized artifact. The officer clique included me watching this absurd hour-long screaming match between Moondog, a woman with children acting like a child, and Dobby's Sock, who is a teacher who was actually treating her like a child. Honestly, it was kind of disgusting to watch. I had a pit in my stomach. She was extremely entitled, saying that he was ninjaing her guild and disrupting all her hard work, and that she's entitled to have a raid spot and entitled to choose what role she plays in any of the raids as it's her guild. Which is kind of true, but the raid team was his. And didn't want to be there. But he was so condescending about it. And when it eventually devolved into a screaming match, he showed no shame in calling her multiple things that I've never even said in my life. Oh, you need to get out more. Back to Kael'thas, though. Okay. The boss which killed our new guild. Oh, my God. The boss which killed the Bosnians' honeymoon phase. People in all the good guilds were calling Kael'thas free loot. And this is what would hurt us the most. At this point, our tanking situation began to fall apart. The one who trialed when we transferred didn't really vibe with the team, but was good. And the other one was Dobby Sock's close friend, an older fellow, who wasn't very good. And the first tank had to micromanage him. This was more of an issue now that we were on Kael'thas, and the gargoyles had to be kited, and I don't remember the specifics, but we wouldn't be able to kill it with Dobby Sock's friend still tanking. Luckily, I happened to know a random guy I met in a Mythic Plus key who was on our server and ahead of the Curve Guild, but wanted more. We ran more keys together and our group was pretty solid. I told Dobby about him, and pretty soon, he was trialing. The same night he joined, we killed the boss. Around this same time, Stazer started to become more vocal about certain aspects of the raid during Kael'thas, which the officers didn't necessarily appreciate. But he was right. He was right. And I had become friends with her. So I defended her. Of course, the guild took this, and the officers, that I was a simp. I immediately defended. She was right. She was right. Oh, you simp. Simp loser. Way, mate. You fucking simp. You fucking simp. What you say, mate? You defending a girl? What's the matter with you, mate? I'm sorry to say, they teased me so much every single night that I had to leave the guild. That day didn't come until council, though. Our next big wall. They called you a simp so much you left the guild? Jesus fucking Christ, bro. Oh my God. I couldn't say anything specific about why the boss was hard. It just seemed like something new made us wipe for a whole night, every single raid night. It was on this boss that I learned Dobby wasn't a good raid leader. More just someone who had the position thrust upon him, as most raid leaders who are featured on Drama Time are. What he called actually raid leading was talking to us like we were children, and most of the time he just wouldn't do call-outs unless he found the mechanic personally annoying. This led to a really weird priority of mechanics. Sounds like a black mage. It led to a really weird amount of priorities in what he would call. He would call things that were coming at him specifically and nothing that was affecting the whole raid. I became more and more annoyed as the pull count got towards 100, and I became more vocal about our strategy. The way we had done it before was using the Fat Boss guides. But I had spoke to some of my cutting edge friends about what they did, and they had something they said was far easier. No, not possible. Those guides were done with all the technical prowess that the world needed, and with good quality testers. I, of course, spoke up about this. Because I wanted progression. Let's kill it. I don't remember specifically what I suggested, but he laughed at me. He laughed at me. He didn't take what I was saying seriously at all. This was similar to Stazer's experiences, so I started talking to her more and leaked a lot of the stuff they would talk about together as officers. Maybe I was a simp. I was absent for one raid night for some reason. And the raid night after that, I came back to see the strat I suggested was now being used. That's odd, I thought. I asked Stazer why they started doing it. She told me it was because an officer suggested it. I wasn't happy. Around this time, Stazer messaged me. She was leaving. And I decided with how my ideas were being tossed aside, I would leave too. I wanted a raid environment with a real raid leader and where people's ideas actually carried some amount of weight. I put myself as looking for guild on WoW Progress before going to sleep. I awoke to a message from Dobby. Before I had talked to the officer about it, he managed to find my LFG post that morning. He asked me why. I just told him the truth. The exact reasons I've told you guys in this tale. Dobby wasn't happy. Muted me immediately on Discord. He wanted nothing to do with me. Beforehand, we had playful banter, but on both mine and Stazer's final raid night, the officers sighed and said, well, I guess we have to find a new healer. At this point, I'd been unmuted and I responded with a fake evil laugh as if I had orchestrated this. The officers thought it was funny, but Dobby didn't. I became blacklisted in Dobby's mind permanently. And when I came to do an alt run with some of the officers I still considered friends, he was there. He gave me the silent treatment, as if I was just a fart in the wind. I still did manage to make him laugh that night a couple of times. He wasn't happy he laughed, but he laughed. And I would be described charitably as, and I quote Mike, a butthurt little boy who was butthurt that his suggestion didn't get included. Oh, that's very mature. The next part I was not present for, but Stacer eventually returned after her new guild didn't work out. And this is going to be the downfall of the Bosnians, was described to me. Of Stone Legion generals, the tank I had gotten Dobbies to invite left for the same reason as me. His suggestions weren't being considered. He quit only a bit into progress and one of the officers had to tank. They did eventually kill it, but they never went on to kill Denathrius. I, on the other hand, was in a cutting-edge guild and got to stand in for someone else on Denathrius' progress. I saw it down to like 10%. It was really fun. I wish I got cutting edge. Coming into SOD, there was some turnover and the tank didn't vibe with the officers and went DPS. So they came into the raid with a brand new tanker. During Mythic Painsmith, Dobby was getting very tilted, which isn't great for a raid leader. But after you consider the fact that it took them 291 pulls, it makes more sense why the tilt was happening. Ouch. What is awful, though, is on this particular raid night, he as raid leader said he was done raid leading after 290 pulls and decided to teach the raid a lesson. He muted his own microphone and refused to help. This forced an officer who hadn't ever done it before to try and lead our raid. Next, he decided he was making an announcement on Discord. Of course, the prestigious Discord announcement. He proclaimed, "People are not taking this boss seriously. And so the people not taking the boss seriously will be sat." The people who were going to be sat knew who they were, but they were pissed that it was the raid leader who mutes his fucking microphone and doesn't listen to anyone else saying that they're not taking it seriously. So instead of being sat, they all left immediately. GG. Fuck this. Fuck off, man. Then a raider was sitting, and 3 other people said if this person wasn't allowed on the main roster, then fuck this shit. The tilt from Painsmith also caused Dobby to start becoming hostile to Stazer and the old tank in particular, calling them pussies in the Discord server openly, and just being confrontational and hostile. The final nail in the coffin. If losing so many people to your own poor leadership skills and childish outburst wasn't enough, was one night when yet another how many trial tanks have we had in this tale? I think we're on like 15 now. It was one night when another trial tank just didn't show up. He sent a whisper saying, "I heard about your guild and fuck that." Fair enough. And that was the final night for the Bosnians. And to that I say, thank God. Thank God. I find it almost poetic that they left Moondog, a tank, to make a brighter, better guild on another server. And they died because a tank didn't show up. It wasn't to be the end, though. Unfortunately, a month after Bosnian stopped, something leaked. A spreadsheet, which was titled the Toxicity Sheet, which had been made by the officers. Who in the fuck thought that was a good idea? Who in the actual titty fucking Christ thought it was a good idea to have a document about your players named the Toxicity Sheet? Who typed that out and shared it and thought, this is good? You might be wondering what exactly the Toxicity Sheet is. Well, it wasn't a sheet logging when people are toxic. Oh, okay. Rather, it was a sheet giving each member of the team, past and present, a score out of 10 for how toxic the officers and Dobby thought they were, with notes next to it. That's actually what I thought it was. That's what I thought it was, actually. Maybe they thought it was a kind of funny joke between friends. But I can assure you, if you had seen it, you would not have been laughing. When I linked it to Stacer, when I was linked to it by Stacer, I was appalled. I counted 5 slurs. Boomkin Burger had one word for his toxicity note, in a font bigger than everyone else's and in rainbow colours on a black background. It was just the N-word. Oh, it's classy as well. It's got colours and racism. That's a combo right there. That's a fucking twofer. It's got colours and racism all mixed in together. Wow. Hey, 10 out of 10 gamer stuff. One of our trans members of the guild had some really, really awful shit about her, which I was particularly disturbed by because I am also trans, and I'm quite glad they didn't know. Hey, we're just taking it up a notch. We're at a 12 for class. For anyone who had left the guild for any reason, their note was just quitter. And interestingly, they wrote like a paragraph for some guild member's girlfriend, calling her all sorts of horrible things. Anyone who lingered was rightfully disgusted, and Stacer had told me that Boomkin Burger has not been allowed by his friends to open the sheet. For Loudbeard, his entry had a 0 out of 10 toxicity rating. His note just said, chill dude. Another thing on the sheet was something that, looking back on it, was quite apparent. Dobby's racism showed up on the sheet in the slurs used for other races, and his homophobia in another couple of slurs and statements on the sheet. His note summed it up pretty well. It said in his toxicity report, while everyone else gets racial slurs and everything else underneath it, his just says, Dobby, misogynistic, racist, and homophobic, in quotes. Apparently this was a joke that an officer had put there for him since they were friends and could make fun of it. Funny. It's a good one. Good one. Nailed it. Nailed it. I feel blind, preacher. I feel blind not having seen how blatant he was about it at times. But I think they kind of knew I wasn't totally in the same realm as them on that and held back when me and Boomkin Burger were around. That's what I said. We had this discussion. I can't remember what it was about. Oh, it was, it was when all the drama with Method was happening. People don't behave like that in front of me. It never happens, and it fucking sucks because I find out later they're actual turbo bastards. But when I go to these places and I meet all these people, nobody acts like this in front of me. Nobody behaves that way. And then you find out later there's the fucking shenanigans that go on. It sucks dick, man, because you just end up like being pally-pally and saying things like, well, I'm friends with that guy. And then they turn out to be a total prick. Going back and recounting the various things which happened made me realize I must be colorblind. Because I cannot see a red flag for the fucking life of me. All in all, there is one innocent person in this story. And it's not me. I cannot plead ignorance as I simply was blind to all the red flags around me and complicit in the officer's weird games. When I was told about the toxicity sheet, I remembered the first one. I was there. It was not as bad as the second one, but I was there when it was created, and just as I threw the officers under the bus in one big collective, they made the toxicity sheet. I should be... Oh, you knew it existed? You were there when it got made. Oh, guilty. You knew about it. Is that what you're saying? You knew it? You were there the day it was created? Guilty. Guilty as fuck. That is turbo guilty. I don't really think the innocent person is Boomkin Burger either. We were both part of this officer clique. Despite not being officers, we turned a blind eye to a decent bit looking back on it. No, the innocent person is Loudbeard. When faced with a guild full of all these people, he didn't join the calls and shit on Moondog like I did. Just didn't seem to care. He was there to progress, pumping that DPS meter every single night in abject silence. I also never mentioned Loudbeard's transmog rating. The most wholesome part of the guild. If you link transmogs in his special channel that he created, he would give you transmog feedback and even suggests specific pieces that he thinks would enhance your look. What a fucking blessed by the trolley itself, my friends. Blessed by the trolley itself. Loudbeard was just the coolest fucking guy. When faced with a toxic environment like this, I wish I could be more like Loudbeard, instead of attaching myself to the drama. This story is also a good lesson and a reason to make a guild. Moondog's guild still exists. Still exists. While mine died. A guild made with love will stay together with love, no matter how weird that love might be. Yet a guild made with rage and malice will fall to the very emotion which created it. Maybe I'm being too cringe and philosophical here, but trying to make guilds with good intentions is probably a good thing. Our guild was born on February 10th, 2021. By the time this is read on Drama Time, we will have passed the 1-year anniversary. Just an interesting fact. Thank you for reading my tale, Preacher, and have a wonderful rest of your day. You were there! You witnessed it! Oh my god. Oh, like a proper ending. Yeah, that was... Cheers to 3 cheers and praise the trolley to Loudbeard. More Loudbeards in the world. We can't all be Loudbeards. We do need some talkers. We do need some talkers. But, yeah, praise the Loudbeard. A legend in his time. And even giving transmog advice. Bex, is this wholesome? Is this wholesome or not? That's my question. Is this wholesome? Don't tell me, actually. I don't want to know. It sounds wholesome. I'm going with this is wholesome after that nightmare we just lived through. How I Met My Wife. It is on Drama Time, so... Darkness may be with us. Let's just put it that way. Darkness may be with us. Oh, I see it starts with an appropriate name for How I Met My Wife. Turbo Tits, Durka, Cash, and Dead Tom. Okay, so is our new wife going to be known as Turbo Tits? Thank you for your support, Turbo Tits. Appreciate it every single day of the week. Drama Time wholesome. There's that every now and again. Hey, we have had wedding proposals and things through Drama Time. We have had some wholesome moments, I'll have you know. All right, let's go. Preacher and the venerated audience. I wrote you a tale a very long time ago called Asking If I Was a Shitty GM, and I took the advice of the court. And it got you a wife. We did it again, team. We did it again. That's us. That's us lot. We did that. We did it again. Sadly, with Shadowlands having such long times between content, the guild was dying, and I made the bold decision to merge my guild with another. Oh, shit. Things are looking up, and seemingly the members of my guild that joined the merge are happy where they are now. I hope... Oh, this is just a brief update. Okay, the merge has gone well. The merge has gone well. No, it's fine, it's fine. The merge is going well. That's what it says. The merge is... No, don't run, Jack. It's fine, it's fine. The merge is going well. This tale is not about that, though. I thought I'd give you a nice update. Okay. Tonight, I wish to regale you with a tale that spans over 10 years. The long game. All right. All right. Though I'll try and keep it concise. Did you know your potential wife for 10 years before making a move? Please don't tell me that's the tale. I'm going to be really sad. It all began back in the dark ages before 2008. Back then, while Classic and Burning Crusade were still ongoing, I had yet to join into World of Warcraft. Instead, I found myself ever more rooting in the fun role-playing times that began all stories Warcraft 3. Primarily through custom maps that would allow you to build anything you wanted, rescale it, recolor it, reorientate it, adding effects to units or heroes, giving them any ability, whichever you prefer. Essentially, a world editor in-game. I was such a nerd. And to this day, I still remember some of the arcane commands for spawning esoteric units. Spawn space 01 space custom underscore noob was the line to spawn purple fellhounds. Just to seal in how much of a nerd I am. It is not, however, a story about Warcraft 3 roleplay either, no. That is merely context to the basement-dwelling, no-life-having entity that I was. Eventually, Battle.net on Warcraft 3 was murdered. Thank you, Dota. And all maps had to be remade from scratch to make them work. My entire roleplay community left the game, and with few other places to go, I turned to WoW. Wrath had just launched, and seeing as it was expanded on a story I truly loved from Warcraft 3, I dived in deep. I made myself an elf druid. For the first half year of playing, I did not even reach max level. Not even 60. No, I spent most of my time RPing primarily around Goldshire. This was before the place became de facto sex brothel. I might add, back then it was just a convenient little roleplay duel hub on my server. There was no furries, there was nothing there involving greasy oil. On my roleplay there, I encountered many interesting and odd people. One in particular might serve for another story, but on another day. Another person I encountered was in a raid guild. Oh, we need a guild name. We didn't use the Dodgers. The Dodgers. Praise be to the Dodgers. The other person I encountered was in a raiding guild called the Dodgers. They were the realm's known raiders, along with another. The two top guilds competing for realm first achievements. The lady I met was a healer in the Dodgers. Her name was Turbo Tits. And in her downtime enjoyed role-playing with us degenerates. As my levels slowly grew, about one a week, if even that, she told me about the wonders of raiding. I had never raided before, never even heard of it. For all I knew, raiding was assaulting the opposite faction's cities and killing their leaders. And sure, that could sound like fun, but I sure as heck sucked way too hard to even dare consider such insurmountable endeavors. But I was wrong. She told me that what raiding truly was, and I was intrigued. Can anybody be a raider? Can anyone just join? And Turbo Tits told me, get to max level, and I'll see what we can do. And so I did. I spent my days still role-playing little stories here and there, but whenever there was downtime, mostly because the kids had to go to school or bed, I would venture out into the world I had barely touched and level my druid to the max. Max level I got to. There I stood, friends. Level 80 in Dalaran. No idea what to do or how to even begin. My friends started taking me to dungeons, helped me get gear. We entered heroic dungeons and I felt like I was reaching new heights only attainable by the elite. I was wrong, obviously, but I was having fun nonetheless. I focused on being a healing druid. After having tried out the other specs, that felt like the spec where I made the least fuck-ups. Keep an eye on your own character. If bar goes down, put heal on it. All good. Soon I was decked out fully in heroic gear and there was nowhere left for me to go than raids. This was the time of the trial of the Crusader. And while the Dodgers was busy hammering through that, my character was not ready. Nor were my skills. I did get an invite to the guild, though, as a social. I found myself invited to a Naxxramas 10-man raid that they did with alts for kicks. I was fucking terrified when I learned something. I was to be the only healer. I almost went into a genuine panic attack. Now, I don't know whether it was me being better than I thought or these guys just being good. I still don't know. But I managed to solo heal them through the entire raid. It's them. It's really easy. If you're still not sure, let me clear it up for you. They're overgeared and it's really fucking easy. I'm not saying you weren't any good at all, but yeah, Nax 10 was notoriously just a fucking walk in the park and just something you did for a laugh. You wanted that Undying achievement. That was it. I did die hard on the safety dance, having never seen it or heard of it before, and being given no notice or explanation about the fight beforehand. This was the only fight they didn't explain to me. Now I know they were joking. What do I do here? Nothing, mate. Just stand there, innit? Just stand there, mate. It'll be fine, dude. I died quickly at the first dance as the only member, and the rest managed to kill the boss without even using a healer. But, by the by, it was after that night I found another friend in the guild. One who took pity on me. One who really liked my optimistic spirit of being a complete noob to the game. Her name was Durka, a survival hunter. Before it was a meme, back when it still used mana. She took me back to Dalaran and showed me all the tier token shops, showed me the enchants and gems I needed, what consumables I should get, and was absolutely stunned when she learned I was playing without any add-ons. After talking with the guild healers about which add-ons to use, I eventually got set up. I joined for a few more raids with their alts and became quite proficient as a resto druid, having fun in the process. However, Durka, she was a cutie. So Turbo Tits isn't the wife? I'm disappointed. Anybody else disappointed? I don't think Turbo Tits is going to be the wife. She was a cutie. Always there to help me. Always there to chat. She was a young girl from the UK studying fine art. She marvelled when I told her that I lived in the city that held the fabled castle from the Hamlet stories, Crownburg. And I jested that she should come visit so I could show her my castle. Player. Gangster. We became, you want to come and see my castle? I've got a really big trebuchet. I have. Got a really big trebuchet and a gift shop if you're lucky. We became closer and closer friends. And at some point we even talked about me visiting for her graduation. But it was not to be, for see. Oh no! Oh, bummer! Oh, disaster. Disaster. But you see, she had a boyfriend. Not just any boyfriend, but an officer of the guild I had joined. I don't recall his tomb name anymore, but let's just call him Ajax the Shaman. I don't even remember what spec he played. I had made friends with him, and he enjoyed making use of my druid to get himself on some mount farming. The only reason I found out was I had asked her to visit, and then I received a whisper. He didn't take kindly to me being so close with his girlfriend, nay, fiancé. But he was clearly the jealous type, and he'd give her an immediate ultimatum. Oh, wow. Okay, 10 out of 10 fiancé. 0 to ultimatum. The ultimatum was that I was to have no contact. And all contact stopped between Durka and I. I soon found myself leaving the guild, going back to my RP ways, though with a newfound joy of the raids the game had to offer. I spent the next few years without a guild, role-playing when I could and primarily just running dungeons otherwise. Raiding was a guild thing, I thought. Not something you could set up without a guild, and I felt quite happy not being in a guild. I enjoyed the game. I had fun. Turbo Tits stayed in touch. Oh, Redemption? Redemption? Turbo Tits stayed in touch after I left the Dodgers, since we occasionally role-played together. Oh. She introduced me to her son, Dead Tom, and his girlfriend, Cash. Never mind. I started playing more and more with the three of them, joining their dungeons. I eventually got my DK up and started tanking for them all in their heroic dungeon farms. And we had fun and life was good, until it wasn't. Oh, God. Are you telling me this is wholesome, Bex? Until it wasn't. Some years down the line, a love interest of mine broke my heart by dumping me for someone else. I was shattered and heartbroken. It was then that Cash suggested that I should come visit, get a holiday, have some fun with the rest of them. And so I even thought it was a joke at first. The talk eventually ended up with me sharing my screen, the mouse hovering over the button to order the flight ticket to go and visit the little family. I told you if she was serious, I would want to make that final click to order the ticket. But if it was only in jest, then no harm, no foul. We'll laugh at this and add to another of our inside jokes, but she clicked the button and she ordered the ticket. 6 months later, I boarded that plane and flew halfway around the world. It was a 10-hour flight, the longest flight I'd ever been on. Cash picks me up at the airport with her parents, and on the way home, I was informed that her and Dead Tom were no longer together. Ooh, okay. Huh. Can you make a play? All right, the scenario is you've flown and you're going to stay at the girl's parents' house. Can you make that play? I think you can make the play. I think you can. After a 10-hour trip, you can make that play. It is her childhood bed. Her parents are going to be in the house. I think you can make the play. You can make the play. You can do it. They had broken up. What followed then was a week of raunchy behavior between the two of us. He made the play. And when it came time for me to return home, we decided it would not be the last time that we would see each other. Half a year later, I was on that plane back to the south again. This time I was to stay for 2 months and spend Christmas and New Year's in the southern hemisphere. And I can tell you, there is something exotic about a Christmas pool party. Fuck my life. But alas, it was not to last. What are you doing to me, man? What are you doing to me, dude? Oh my god. What we had was nothing but a fun, ludicrous fling where she found another man and he had something I didn't have. He was a Christian, which is what her mother wanted, who also lived in her country. They got together, leaving me once again to my lonesome. But it was alright. I'd only seen her a couple of times, and I quite enjoyed being alone. I could do what I wanted, whenever I wanted. I still had friends to do other things with. 2 years later. This has now spanned a long time. I was now living on my own. And as a housewarming present, my parents gave me a dog. An Alaskan Malamute who looked like the fluffiest little polar bear you had ever seen on a pupper. I proudly shared a photo of my floof on the internet for things, and lo and behold, there was a reply from a person that I had not seen or spoken to in close to 8 years. It was Durka. I wants him, was her comment on the picture. And fuck me, she'd reached out to me. I was not going to not reply. I was just going to reach out and find out how things were going. And apparently, things hardly going at all. They didn't send me the pic, I'm mad. I was looking for the pic. She eventually got married to Ajax. Resto Shaman. Why do you keep bringing up his Resto Shaman? Like you shouldn't marry Resto Shaman? Never marry a Resto Shaman. Well, things weren't good. After... One of the things that was a problem was that after they moved in together, it turned out he enjoyed wearing her underwear while at home, which stretched and ruined them for her. Yeah, that'll happen. That'll happen. You'd think you should find that out before you get married, shouldn't you? It just seems like one of those things you should find. It just feels like one of those things you should find out before you get married. It turned out that he was bi, and he had cheated on her with his best man, which ended the marriage pretty quickly. Maybe he was hoping for a three-way dance. Maybe he was probably hoping for the three-way dance. Him and that best man. Oh man, well, triple threat match. Yeah, they're hoping for the triple threat match. That's crazy, but it happens more often than you like to think. Their marriage hadn't even lasted 12 months, and in the time since, Durka was afraid to reach out to me. Felt she had hurt me and worried I had no more interest in talking with her after the ultimatum. Especially after seeing two... Oh, no! Is this on Facebook? Fucking Zuckerberg again. Wanker. Especially after seeing my 2 vacation trips to visit one of her guildmates. Fucking Zuckerberg strikes again from the shadows. Got it. King Zark himself, man. King Zark. In my mind's eye, she was, is, and always was be the one that got away. So I quickly grabbed the chance of learning that she and her and Ajax, or anyone else for that matter, were not together, to talk to her as much as possible. Not only did I want to try to get with her, I wanted my friend back. And I did. I got a best friend in her, and we began playing games together again. Now, she lived, of course, in the UK, but I had now lived in the Netherlands. There was a little northern sea between us, but nothing at all like a 10-hour flight. We quickly decided on meeting each other IRL. It was planned and everything was ready to go, but alas... Oh my fucking god, are you kidding me? Fate likes to play its games. Oh, okay. Okay, we're safe. We're safe. We're safe. We're safe. We're safe. We're good. We're good. She fell off a climbing wall and sprained her ankle pretty heavily, needing a half cast and 2 crutches to move, and she wasn't allowed to travel. The plans were cancelled. Oh no, they're fucking not. I refuse to let this happen again. Baller. 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 I said I'm coming to visit you instead. That's baller. Fuck this. Nope. Not doing this again. Fuck that. I said I could at least come and help out while you're immobilized. A short week later, I was on the fucking plane. It was uneventful, 2 hours of flight time. And when I landed, I wanted to get some things to greet her with. Flowers, chocolates, a band-aid for a barked leg. But again, fate struck. Fate struck. Oh my god. Dude, what are you fucking doing? You're clowning me. My bank refused to let me withdraw or spend money while abroad, so I was basically stood in an airport, penniless, with no means of getting home. You call the bank before you travel. I've done that. I'm going to be in Mexico. All right? I'm going to need to use my card while I'm over there. You just call them and you just say, hey, just to let you know. If Durka and Ajax were playing an evil prank on me now, I was about to be severely fucked. I was on the phone to my bank trying to open my card, but with no success. Pacing the airport, getting ever more and more frustrated, angry, and desperate. Durka was at this point also late. She should have been here at least 20 minutes ago. Don't do this to me. I was sat on a chair. I was close to tears. At the absolute peak of my desperation. Just before full-blown panic. There she was. I saw her, hobbling her way down to the pickup area. Both hands in crutches to limp her barked leg after her. But my goodness, was she beautiful. More beautiful than the webcam talks we'd ever showed. To see her in person was like a veil being lifted from my eyes. My eyes. We met, we hugged, and she hobbled to the train to take us to her area and place. Fucking Dutchies. Always on trains. That night, we went for a very, very, annoyingly very slow walk through her local area. She's hobbling along. Oh my god. She showed me cremes. Any Dutchies? A milkshake shop. Oh, you thought we'd think cremes was tits. I didn't even pick up on that. She lived in the UK. Oh yeah, he's in the UK, isn't he? The fuck is cremes? Just made that up. The fuck is cremes? Oh, some southern thing. And as we walked back to her place, we had our first kiss under the branches of a willow tree. Very romantic. Arguably one of my best weekends ever. Though not the last. As she took me to the airport for me to go back home, we hugged each other tightly and didn't want to let her go. Tears escaped our eyes as we looked upon each other, and we felt the hurt of separation. Aww. Next month, she would come and visit me. It was too cold to go out, though, because the Danish winters can get quite harsh. Oh, yeah, Danish. Especially up near North Sweden. So I did not get to show her Kronberg, as I promised all those years ago. Instead, we got to spend Halloween together. The first ever Halloween I ever had. And she made it quite fun with dressing up. Oh, yeah, you guys don't do Halloween. That's why yeah. Why? Why don't you do Halloween? I don't get it. Why don't you do Halloween? Halloween's really fun. I was so surprised that the Netherlands, I can't speak for Denmark, but I know that the Netherlands don't do Halloween either. It's crap. No, it's not. Because it's really fun. You get to dress up like a fucking maniac and have fun in a party and have a load of beers. It's well good, Halloween. I dressed up as a warlock that I was playing at the time, and she dressed up as a classy succubus. It says classy in parentheses. Check this shit out, right? Check this out. Look how this is written. Anybody believe this? As a brackets, classy succubus. This went on for a few more times back and forth. And this time we moved back. In this time, she moved back north to move in with her mother. Oh, good. She's moving back to God's country. And I got to greet her on a weekend trip. Lovely lady. But we did soon... Oh, God. We soon realized it could not go on like this for much longer. Every time we had to say goodbye at the airport, our hearts hurt too much. We put our heads together and spoke about the future, long-term plans. It was then I decided to uproot. I contacted my father, paid him £500 to drive me. I flew from my stuff over. Not even a year together, RL, and we decided it was time. We both, after all, felt like we'd known each other for many years before we actually got to hold hands. My dad agreed. We loaded up his tiny little 3-door car with whatever we could fit. Me and my 7 to 8 stone dog, he brought the pupper. 50 kilos for the rest of the world. And my PC. I need my dog, my pajamas, and my PC. I'm good. Those are in that order. Dog first, PC second, clothes third. That's the order of events. Everything else can stay. I don't give a shit. I need dog, computer, and just some clothes. We drove through Germany into Belgium, Holland, and spent the night in France. The next day, early morning, to take the ferry over to the UK. And began the long drive from the south of England to the northeast. Disaster. You're in Newcastle? Bruh. You done fucked up. Why would you go there? Newcastle? They're going to the northeast? Jesus. Bum. He dropped me off along the way with my stuff. Spent one night and then drove off to Newcastle to get a ferry home from there. Oh God, Sunderland? Could get worse. Could get worse. Not even Newcastle. It could be Sunderland. That was 7 years ago. As of February 2022. In that time, we got married. We now have a son who is 5 and a daughter of 4 months. I know there was not a lot of drama going in this story. There was enough, okay? There was fucking more than enough, brother. But it is there. But that is not the focus I wanted to bring, nor the things I wish to focus on. Nay, I wish to focus on the feel good, depending on what stories you've had in drama time this week. Thank you, Mike, for reading my story, and to all those lonely people out there playing games being told, you can't just expect love to fall in your lap. I say to you, yes, you can, because it happened to me. It did take 8 years, right? It did take 8 years. Thank you, Preacher, and thank you, audience. I wish you all the happiness you deserve. You're going down the Grove. Going to Grove, Keck W. Round of applause. Round of applause. We got some love there eventually. In many ways, the lesson here is Facebook drove us apart, which is really quite sad. Facebook drove us apart, which is something we should all remember. I told you it was wholesome. Eventually, broken legs. Jesus Christ. Boo, boo, the bad book indeed. Well, it's nearly 5:30 here, which means my family is on the way to see me. So I am going to love you and leave you, my friends. We were going to play some Dragoon or something after the stream, but we've gone a little late with drama. I'm going to love you and leave you. I will be back on Monday. We are doing Shadowbringers 5.5, the end of Shadowbringers on Monday. We are bringing Shadowbringers to a close. That will be Monday. I will be around on Sunday, but we're shooting all the videos for while I'm in Mexico. So a reminder, there is no drama next week. So if you want to get your drama stores in, you've got plenty of time to get them into either our website or drama@preachgaming.com. Noble is still live, then we'll throw a wonderful raid over. That makes sense to me. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for another wonderful day, and I will see you live in a couple of days. But check out YouTube tonight. Our Stormblood video is going out. It'll be about 8 p.m. It should be scheduled for 8 p.m. I hope you enjoy it. It's a very cool story, I think. Have a great time. Bye, everybody.